The central bank governor says government has wiggle room to reduce the island's debt burden. A new unit has been set up to reduce waiting time at the Accident and Emergency Department. And in sports, Sammy earmarks a top 5 rating for the West Indies. The Central Bank of Barbados is suggesting that government has some room to maneuver as it seeks to reduce this country's debt burden. Governor Dr. Delisle Worrell made that point as he reviewed the island's economic performance for the first 6 months of this year. He says government can adjust its medium-term fiscal strategy if necessary to try to lower the debt.
Some of it shows significant progress in the direction of the strategy. We can prolong the strategy a little bit, and on the other hand, there might be some costs in terms of, we currently have a level of foreign exchange reserves of 20 weeks of imports. We can live with 18. So the government might decide, okay, to get to the 5.6% of GDP is not an achievable target at this point in time, so we can get close and also, allow a little deterioration in the reserves.
Dr. Worrell is also predicting continued growth in the tourism industry. In fact, he contends that even if the economic situation in the U.S. worsens, that would not necessarily result in fewer tourists from that market.
We need to focus on where are our tourists coming from, right? And who are they? When we do that, I doubt we will find that their ability to travel will be affected directly one way or the other by what comes of the U.S. fiscal deficit.
Barbadians should start to experience reduced waiting time, and it can be seen and treated a lot faster at the Accident and Emergency Department at the QEH. Shane Celia explains.
The long waits could be over now that there's a new minor cases unit up and running at the Accident and Emergency Department. It's located near the entrance to A&E and has been in operation for about a month. Consultant there, Dr. Shani Williams, tells CBC News how the new facility works.
That facility is there for doctors to see patients with minor injuries, those that have to be seen in the emergency department for one reason or another, and so that we can see them on a shorter term basis. As opposed, those are the patients who would have normally presented and waited for extremes in hours to access care. So at various intervals throughout the 24-hour period, we would dedicate a doctor, a nurse, and an orderly to try to see those short, what we will call short cases.
Dr. Williams says it has helped to reduce the number of patients awaiting treatment in a given period.
It's a bit too early to say for sure if it has helped with the overall waiting times, but on a day-to-day, shift-by-shift basis, we can see the benefits of the unit because, as I said before, we would help to decrease the numbers of patients waiting for care just by diverting them to that space.
Over the next few months, health officials will be assessing the operations of the minor cases unit, but it's hoped that the facility can be part of the answer to reduce waiting times at the Accident and Emergency Department. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
Meantime, we're hearing that extended opening hours at polyclinics are seemingly not the answer health officials are looking for as they seek to reduce long waiting times at the A&E. That's according to a study done to assess the impact of extended hours at the Sir Winston Scott Polyclinic, which opens until 10 p.m., the Maurice Bayer Polyclinic in St. Peter and Randall Phillips Polyclinic in Oistins, which both close at 8:30 in the evening. Health Minister Donville Innes revealed the results of the study during the closing of an urgent care Train the Trainers workshop at the ministry's headquarters. According to him, the extended opening hours help to strengthen the primary healthcare system by ensuring that some essential services were available for longer periods. But he says this wasn't enough to reduce the burden on the A&E department.
The results also indicated that extending polyclinics opening hours did not necessarily result in a reduction of waiting time in the Accident and Emergency Department at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, or the number of non-emergency patients seeking care at A&E, or overcrowding in that department.
Well, and the study also revealed that in many cases, people returned to the A&E for minor injuries because they did not want to go to polyclinics for care. It also showed that patients, more often than not, deemed their injuries or illnesses as emergencies, which could not be treated at polyclinics. Minister Innes says that healthcare officials are working to address these issues to boost confidence in the service provided at polyclinics.
This ministry is working through the Office of the Senior Medical Officer of Health South and the Accident Emergency Department at the QEH, and to embark on an initiative to strengthen its human and institutional capacity by training the nursing and medical staff from polyclinics in further triaging and to provide appropriate health technology in our polyclinic system.
In other news now, work is progressing smoothly to repair the clock at Parliament, and it's expected to be completed later this month. This as workmen continue to fix the 136-year-old clock, which has been out of service since last October. Facilitated by the Ministry of Transport and Works, a clockmaker from England, Andrew Hinks, and his colleague, Brian Parry, are literally working around the clock to have it ready. CBC understands that some of the original inner components of the clock have already been replaced, even though most are being retained. CBC also understands that along with the fixing of the clock, restoration work is being done to the tower. And work on the Eagle Hall Library has stopped and the building remains closed months after it was earmarked for renovations. The library was closed in February this year and thousands of dollars in materials were ordered for its upgrade. However, when a CBC News team visited the site, there was no sign of any work being done, nor word of when the planned refurbishment would restart. Union sources say they are aware of the closing of the library and the apparent disappearance of the materials for the repair of the library at Eagle Hall and Oistins. Minister with responsibility for libraries, Stephen Lashley, has told CBC he's looking into the matter. From Christchurch in the south to St. Lucie in the north, people using the beaches have been complaining about an unusually large amount of seaweed blanketing the island's shores. Mike Goddard says the Coastal Zone Management Unit has identified what it is and where it's coming from.
It's called sargassum seaweed and originates from the Sargasso Sea, an area in the North Atlantic Ocean. It is transported by the wind and tides. Director of the Coastal Zone Management Unit, Dr. Leo Brewster, says it is something that happens every year in Barbados, but it has never been like this.
We've had complaints, especially from the areas of the Crane and Ginger Bay, whereby it is just prolific, and no matter how the property owners there try to clean it, it's always there the next day. It's extended as far down as Oistins and into Silver Sands, and it's also prolific in the areas of Long Beach, Concept Bay, East Coast, River Bay, and Bashiba.
The seaweed has been a nuisance, but poses no danger.
We more or less have to grin and bear with it because the source is from out in the open ocean. So we don't know how large the sargassum concentration is, and more importantly, where it's coming from. We have more or less assumed that it's something that might be associated this year with the low-lying intertropical convergence zone, because normally when we do see it, it's when the ICTZ is very low, and then it's pushing the seaweed towards us. Okay, but right now we don't know what the point of origin is and how long it will be staying. We're hoping that it will fade very soon and let us get our beaches back to normal, but right now we just can't say.
The Coastal Zone Management Unit has been working with other agencies to try and deal with the situation.
Given the level that we have seen now, and after we did do the visit up to River Bay, Coastal Drainage, Ministry of Environment and Sanitation Services Authority, we've more or less come to the decision that for those areas that are being highly deposited on, where you're getting a large concentration regularly occurring there, that there will be a need for a manual cleanup of the beaches themselves. It should be noted as well that we are not actually recommending any sort of like mechanical cleanup for this sand, because at this time of year, this is the peak turtle nesting season.
Dr. Brewster says the Coastal Zone Management Unit is monitoring the situation and he has dismissed claims that the cleanup is taking too long. In the meantime, it looks as if we will just have to grin and bear it. Mike Goddard, CBC News.
Thanks, Mike. Coming up, another major achievement for superstar Rihanna. Barbados is among 7 countries participating in a pilot project addressing the issues of climate change and its effects on health. It's a collaboration between the Ministry of Health, the United Nations Development Programme and the Pan American Health Organization, and was launched at Marriott Courtyard, Hastings this morning. Minister of Health Donald Innes says this project is important to the island because developing countries are the most vulnerable due to limited resources. He says health has been identified as one of the sectors which will be most affected by climate change.
There is consensus within the scientific community that the global climate is changing and that this change is affecting human health. In the region of the Americas, the main areas of concern are increases in the frequency and intensity of extreme climate events, changes in food and water supply, which in turn affect nutritional security, modification in the distribution of the vector-borne diseases, and of course, sea level rise.
Another achievement for Barbadian singer Rihanna. She has become the latest celebrity to join an elite group on Facebook with over 40 million fans. Data from social media monitoring site Fame Count shows that Rihanna passed the 40 million mark on Facebook on July the 11th. The only other celebrity to have over 40 million fans on the social networking site are Lady Gaga and rapper Eminem. King of Pop Michael Jackson falls just below the 40 million mark. Well, preparations have been made to ensure that Soca Royale will be an event to remember. Event producer Aja has noted the stage has been set 1 week and a half before the actual competition. He added security will be tight and there will be adequate parking space.
We want the entire perimeter to look at every security entrance, ways that we could strengthen the security. The supervisors of the marshals were here as well, and at that time we also look at all parking sites, which I would say about 80% of the parking sites have already been prepared. Next week, because of the rain, we will widen some more parking bays. We have met with the transport board. They have put a transport plan in place. I'm telling you all these things to tell you that we are ready.
Competition coordinator Stephen Brathwaite says patrons can look forward to a full entertainment package from as early as 1 p.m. until nightfall.
It's expected that this move to stage the Party Monarch competition in the evening hours is something that is a good one. It is something that came out of our stakeholder meetings with the artists, and they've been asking for it for a very long time. We anticipate that they will take full opportunity here at Bushy Park, both the surroundings, the ambiance, the space available, as well as the time frame of the competition to really raise their performance level.
Trinidad-born Pan aficionado Liam Teague is in Barbados for Pan Fusion, one of the new events to the crop over calendar. Teague is an associate professor at a U.S. university where he teaches music but focuses primarily on the steel pan. He told CBC News that the steel pan is becoming more popular worldwide.
It keeps growing. People keep experimenting with the instrument of itself, experimenting with different styles of music. And that's one of the things I'm going to do at the concert on Thursday, really play a variety of musics to highlight the versatility of the steel pan.
Teague also told us that what will be bringing tomorrow night to Alara Court when that event comes off.
I'll be playing a variety of styles, some of my own compositions. I'll also be doing at least one piece with the great saxophonist from Barbados, Arturo Tapin. We haven't worked in a number of years. We actually did a CD together a number of years ago called TNT, Teague and Tapin. So I'm looking forward to working with him again, as well as hopefully working with Victor Provost, who is one of the great improvisers on the steel pan.
Still to come, a look at stories making headlines across our region. Now, the Courts Quiz. In what year was the original Coast Guard base at Hoistons moved to Willoughby Fort?